Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 26 of PWHL 20. My name's Alyssa, and I am joined by my lovely co-host, Maya. Maya, how are you?
I am doing well. It is I guess like in a 5 game series, you can't really like say a midpoint, but it's the midpoint.
Yep,
And yeah, things are good. How about you?
things are good. Intrigued to see where this series goes from here, as it's
Sorry, I'm just having a minor thunderstorm outside.
for those who are listening on audio. Maya just like turned to the side to close her window. We're gonna close that and get rid of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm really intrigued to see where things go. Now we flipping here to Minnesota. Series is tied 1-1. Two OT games, 2-2-1 games. Two teams that like honestly like I don't want to say they play similarly because I don't think that's true. But what I think is so similar about these two teams, it's obviously Ottawa and Minnesota, is I think they're both very deep.
Yeah,
Like I
I
was
agree.
looking at the time on ice from games 1 and 2, and very spread out. Like very, very, very spread out. Like there's some players obviously who are playing more than others, but you're not seeing. I think almost every single player had on both teams, if not at least one team, maybe both teams had at least double digits. So very similar in that sense. And Gwyneth Phillips. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Well,
If you're
just
not protecting her, I don't know what you're doing if you're
I know.
Ottawa.
Just on like the ice time side of things, like I think the only Ottawa player who has not been on the ice yet is Isbell,
Yeah.
which is fine. She's
Yeah,
the
she's
seventh
this is
defender.
seventh D. Yeah, we've seen
But
that
yes,
a
I
few
agree.
times.
Everyone has been like definitely contributing. Even though I feel like the people who've scored have been relatively the same,
Yep.
there are people who are contributing in other ways for sure.
100%. Yeah. So game one was, well, they both are 2-1 OT winners, OT games, but game one was Ottawa taking the win, which Ottawa came flying out the gate in
Yeah.
period one. Like they looked great. I thought they were in control pretty quickly. They just looked really good. But didn't get on the board. Nobody got on the board. But then into the second period, Ottawa's own Rebecca Leslie with a rip of a shot. What a nip! Oh my god, gorgeous shot. Second of the playoffs. Just a nice shot. Just clean, beat Hensley. Um, couldn't have asked for like a more perfectly placed shot than that shot in particular. And then late, kind of like 5 minutes into the third period, so it wasn't like a empty net tying goal, but I'm gonna butcher her name. Clara Himlis. Oh my god.
Himlarova,
Yep,
I
you
think.
got it. Yeah, Himlarova. Yeah. For some
What?
reason, I almost tossed an S in there. I don't know what I'm doing. This caffeine hasn't hit my brain yet. But she came and scored the tying goal. And then it was just a tight game for the rest of third period. It only took her 2 minutes and 47 seconds, but Emily freaking Clark has been
Yeah.
unbelievable in these
Clutch
playoffs,
for sure.
especially in the finals so far. But she maybe a goal that Hensley would probably want back, but also a nice shot. Emily Clark just knows it's an unassisted goal, rips it. Good night. Let's go home. And that crowd in Ottawa was unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna talk to somebody who was there later on in this episode. But even just from the broadcast, like I think I had to turn the TV down at one
I
point.
did too. I did as well. I did the same thing.
Yeah, like I couldn't hear my conversation because the crowd was so loud, which is
Hmm.
amazing and like
Yeah.
everything that we want for sure. And I'm really glad that that crowd was rewarded um with the winner, and then Ottawa goes up 1-0 in the series.
Yeah.
One
And
closer
like
in the cup.
looking good. And then game two. Also, for some context, during game one, Brita Curl had an awkward, bit of a dirty
knee
I
on
don't want to
knee.
call it a hit, but it's a knee on knee with Teralova, who has had injury trouble all season. Um, and it resulted in Teralova leaving the game, not returning, and then it being announced yesterday morning before game 2 that she wasn't going to be playing, and she's considered, I think, day to day is what they're calling it.
Yeah, I think
So
she did come back, but then something else happened and
yeah,
she left again. But yeah. Yeah.
yes. She left the game after the curl incident, came back, and then I think she took a puck or something, or like something to her knee, like
Yeah.
something to her leg. Not exactly entirely sure about that, but she did come back. You're correct. She came back, then something else happened, left the game again, didn't return, and then was announced ahead of game 2 in the morning that she would not be playing in game 2, which is obviously a huge loss. She has had injuries most of the season, but when she's in the lineup, she makes a difference. She's an unbelievable hockey player, so that hurts a little bit. Also coming from a player who continues to find themselves in these situations of being on the wrong end of a questionable hit. No
And
disciplinary, no penalty, and no disciplinary. Oh my god, words.
disciplinary.
Thank you so much. Action on her, so good to play game 2. I
Yeah.
mean, I've said all I probably need to say about this, but it's just this stuff's going to continue to happen unless we actually do something about it. To me, and I'm not comparing these types of players to each other in a sense of who they are as humans, and I don't mean to make an NHL to PWHL um, comparison, but to me, it's reading very much like a Tom Wilson thing, where if you watch Tom Wilson early in his career, he was an idiot. He was an idiot, and he was also skilled. And I feel like it's coming to the point, and it's only her first freaking season, where she's a skilled player. She scored 2 goals in the second game, which we're about to talk about, but she is doing stupid things and not controlling her body, controlling her stick, controlling her knee, controlling her elbow, etc., etc. And it's becoming an issue. And um, I think it's going to take some more suspensions here if she continues to do this for it to make a difference, and for her to learn from it. But here we are, and still hasn't really happened. But it's the nature of it, I guess. Unfortunately, I also don't know how the league looks at suspensions in the playoffs. Like, I don't know if the weight of games looks differently. I'm not sure any of that. So,
And like obviously we aren't seeing what's going on behind the scenes with Minnesota, but outwardly it's definitely not seeming like there's any acknowledgement that these plays are dangerous and
yeah,
that she, who is a very skilled hockey
she's
player,
great. She's a skilled hockey player. Yeah.
yeah, is harming her career by doing this and harming other people because it's very clear that the few times we have heard from Minnesota's, like from their coach and stuff like that, like he clearly is behind her and comparing her to people like Glenn. So I don't know
Yeah,
what's
and
gonna
then you see the other side of it too, right? Where uh, Carla McLeod is being asked about a post game after game 1, and she thought it was dirty.
yeah.
Like she, even in the first series, Troy Ryan thought the elbow to the head was dirty. Like it's, so some people are saying it's dirty, some people aren't, but see how things go. But unfortunately, this is where I truly believe that karma doesn't work in every single way you want it to. But in game 2, Jocelyn Larocque, oh baby, what a goal! Seriously, like if you watched Jocelyn play like any time before 2018, this is who she was for most of her career. Obviously, she's getting a little bit older. She's adapted her game quite well, especially since she's gotten to Ottawa. But this just shows me that she still has those hands and she still has that poise. Just turning players inside out, scores a beautiful goal with less than 3 minutes remaining in regulation. Ottawa is just partying. Linus Olmark at the glass in his charge hat with his girl dad hoodie. He is going crazy. Shout out to Ollie. Love you, guy. You're great. Such a cool moment for her. Like, she's obviously getting to the point where she's probably considering retirement soon. Like, I could see her playing for a couple more years, but like, who's to say like where this ends up? And like, you never know how many opportunities you have to score big goals in big games, right? And for her to do this on the team that she got traded to, and that was a heartbreaking thing because she loved Toronto, and that was difficult. It's so cool. It was just such a cool moment. I have chills talking about it because it was just so cool to watch her do that.
I agree, and I think like you were saying, this is kind of how she used to play. I feel like she was drafted second overall into this league, and everyone was a little bit like, okay, interesting. And then what we've like mostly seen from her is that like stay-at-home defenseman logging tons and tons of minutes in like those really long overtime games. But to see her score a goal like that, like that's the like sliver of the player who went second overall, you know? So that's really nice. And I don't know, like I really wish that that was it.
I know, me too.
The end.
The end. The game's finished. Yay.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. Unfortunately, it was not. So Vinishva takes her third penalty of the game, and we chat with our colleague Elisha Côté later on in this episode, and her name gets brought up about maybe a player to watch looking to make a difference in the rest of the series. And this is not how she should be finding herself on the score. She knows that, and she knows that. Her coach knows it. Everyone knows it. But you can say what you want to say about that penalty.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the biggest fan of it. But
you can't put yourself in that position. That
you also have to play. You have to play through it, right? Like you can't control it. I could understand the fans in the building hating it, but Minnesota capitalizes on it. So her penalty was for tripping at 1923, and then at 1944, Britt Curl, playing in this game, which should she have been? Who knows? Scores. She's net front always for them, and she's quite good at it. And again, shows you the skill. She kind of gets a puck loose and taps it home. Tie game. Great for Minnesota. Bit heartbreaking and deflating for Ottawa, but I still felt like once OT started, Ottawa was still buzzing. Like I felt like those first couple minutes, Ottawa was still doing really, really good. Phillips is dialed. Everything looks great. But then again, Britta Curl comes down and scores the OT winner. A little bit of heartbreak.
Fell to my knees in a Walmart parking lot.
What'd you say?
I said fell to my knees in the Walmart parking
Literally,
lot.
I turned it off immediately.
I went, no!
Literally, like, just like, and you're like, ma'am, this is Walmart.
I mean, so what I was going to say before the curl goal is that this was the first sign to me of the Ottawa team that we've seen in the regular season the last 2 years not being able to finish the deal, like tie it up. I think they knocked themselves out of that when they like went into overtime. Like that break clearly was like, okay, like we still need to come back out here, like we can win this game. But this was the first time where I was like, oh yeah, this is the team that like didn't win an overtime game for like their entire first season and get the job done multiple times, which against Montreal, Montreal was the team that couldn't get the game done. So I was a little worried. And obviously not like that Ottawa would prefer, but
no, of course. It was heartbreaking, especially after all the hype and stuff and whatnot, but series is tied 1-1 heading to Minnesota. I think it's going to be a much different vibe in that arena. I'm not a fan of how the league has scheduled these games. They fall directly onto the same days of game 3 and 4 of the Western Conference Final in the NBA. They play at two separate arenas, play about the same time. I'm not a fan of it whatsoever. So I'm intrigued to see the crowd. I would love to see, some Minnesota Wild players in the crowd. That'd be pretty sweet. That would be pretty cool. But fingers crossed it's a good crowd. And if I had a player to watch for Minnesota, it's going to be Taylor Heisey. I feel like she's been all over the place, but she hasn't really found the score sheet just yet, or even just on the score sheet. And she's been unbelievable in the playoffs throughout her entire career, but especially this season. And then for Ottawa, I'm looking at a player like Cheyenne Darkangela, who is playing crazy minutes, has been so good. But I think if you're kind of looking for some push, she's definitely a player who's going to try and get that going. And then I would love to see a Venisheva goal because she loves that villain role, and I think she probably knows she didn't have her best game last night.
I agree. I would love to see Jenner get a goal. I would like to see a goal earlier on in the game. And I think, like,
Yeah.
obviously, we've talked about this a million times, but Ottawa plays infinitely better when Jenner scores. And I think she's due, and she can kind of like set that tone for her team. And then I think Kava has been quiet lately, and that doesn't bode
Yeah.
well for anyone. So I
Yeah,
expect.
that's a little scary, eh? And she loves to score on home ice. She
Yeah.
loves to score on home ice. When they turned the series back to against Toronto, back to Minnesota, she had a 2-goal performance rate
Yeah.
in that first game back. So be
One other
intriguing.
thing I will say about the I think it's really important for Minnesota that they won that game in Ottawa, um, because like obviously in order to win the series, you're gonna have to win in Ottawa. But to not have it that you have to go and win it in game 5, to have won it in game 2, like
Yeah.
you've banished those demons of having to win in that building, and you saw what happens when you do that. So I think that's really good for them. Not saying that I would like to see them lift their second Walter Cup trophy, but to me that was like the biggest barrier to them having that success, and I think they've fixed that problem.
I couldn't agree more. So that's our chat about the games. We're gonna. Are you good?
Sorry, the thunder was really loud. I'm scared.
Oh, the thunder! I keep forgetting you have a thunderstorm outside.
Sorry, everyone.
I thought I did something. I'm like, what did I do? No, it's just the weather. It's just
Yeah.
the sky. So we're gonna switch things over here to our chat with our colleague from the Ice Garden, Elisha Côté. Had the honor of chatting with her for about 15 minutes about the energy, the vibes, the free mullet cuts, everything in between in Ottawa for games 1 and 2. So enjoy. Thank you. You're our first guest, by the way.
Oh my gosh, I'm honored.
Yeah, 26 episodes in, and you're first, and couldn't imagine it being any other way, especially with the way the playoffs have gone. Obviously, you're the Ice Garden's main Ottawa reporter and writer, and all around just awesome human being. So, quickly, if you kind of just want to like intro yourself a little bit, kind of explain what you've been doing for us all season and what that's looked like from your end.
Yeah, for sure. So I've been covering Ottawa basically since even before the season started. I did a couple interviews with Mashmeyer and Gabby Hughes, and then just covering the team all season. I'm one of the only people that's gone to like all the games. I try to go to practices when I can, and yeah, it's been super fun. It's been like a dream come true for me to cover a professional women's hockey team in Ottawa.
And you're
And
from
you do
Ottawa, right?
a great job.
Yes, I have never moved in my entire life.
Well, you do a great job. So
You're unreal.
glad-
Like seriously, like and you would have never guessed that like this is like your first like full year of doing something like this. Like I think you've approached it from such a professional but also such a impressive perspective, and like you were a season ticket holder last year, right?
No, I'm way
No?
too broke for that.
I didn't know. I did you go to games? Like, did you? I
I
don't even
did,
know how
I
much.
did.
I guess season tickets probably are most expensive, probably in Ottawa and Toronto. I guess now that I'm thinking about it, because of just the amount of hype. But you went to a bunch of games, I'm assuming.
I went to like 4 games, maybe.
So
4 or
already
5.
kind of knew the team. Already kind of like
Yeah.
fell in love with it a little bit. Yeah, we're super grateful to have you, and like I feel like just unreal. So obviously, you know, Ottawa's in their first postseason run here as a team for the first time ever. They are also now the first Canadian team to be in the final, which is amazing. So, you know, pretty impressive. Obviously, only 2 seasons so far, but for their first one to make it to the final, a bit of an upset in round 1 with Montreal. But turning to the final here, hosting Minnesota with home ice because they finished ahead of them. What was game one like? Because, like, I feel like even since the start of last year, like, Ottawa was always kind of known as like the hype, like that arena is loud. That arena is like, first game we saw them booing Poulin, and it was like, whoa, this isn't our regular hockey like that we're used to kind of thing. So what was kind of game one like leading up to it?
I was one of those people who booed Poulin last year.
Yeah,
It felt wrong, but I did it.
but it felt wrong, but so right.
Yeah. Game one, I mean, Ottawa is a pretty big sports city in general. I think it's underrated. And Charge fans are passionate, so I knew they were going to show up. But I knew that because they made the playoffs, so many more people were going to go. Like, my dad and my sister went to the game last night, and they don't typically go to games. So then just, yeah, I mean, I expected it to be pretty hyped up. I mean, they had the Charge Electric Avenue, which has been
So
kind
cool.
of a thing they started since the last game of the season. And I like that they keep doing it. I thought it was going to be like a one-off thing, but like they'll do it for a game if they can now. And
That's
like
amazing.
they'll give stuff away. Fans are lining up like, I'd say like 2 fans deep all along the railings, high-fiving the fans.
That's awesome.
Free mullets, face painting.
Yeah.
I mean, I got
And
that
you-
mullet.
Yeah, look
You got
at
one.
fresh cut. That's so cool.
And
I
even like
don't
the sign making, like I've seen so many awesome signs from their sign making stuff. I'm so glad they're doing that too.
Yeah, super creative signs. Lots of signs about shawarma, which I think is hilarious. Lots of signs about our least favorite player. Just
Some confiscated.
Some confiscated, which one was hilarious because one of like the confiscated signs that I saw on X was like my former professor.
What a legend.
He's a legend. And even when I was getting my mullet, look, this fan gave me this like Rebecca Leslie sticker that she like
Oh my gosh.
made. It's so
She's
good.
so
It's
talented.
so
What the
good.
heck?
She's the one who made the Get Lorect by LaRock sign.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that all so much.
Awesome. And like even some of them are like going like not that the PWHL is not mainstream, but like going mainstream to the point where like people who do not care about it to the extent that like the three of us care about it were like sending me the like Carla was right about everything sign and being like, can you give me the context for this? Like I need to know.
So good.
Carla was right about everything. Even I doubt her sometimes.
God, I need Carla to like be like my like motivational like coach of life, just to like just like the video of her with the Czech national team at Worlds, like I just was like, oh, I need her to speak to me like that every day of my life, and I'd be able to accomplish whatever I want. Yeah, the fanfare has just been unreal. I love the signs. The shawarma signs are so good, so good. Looking at game one, OT winner. Do we think the building was going to collapse or what?
I mean, it was pretty close. Like, where the media sits is kind of trash, like, not gonna lie. But from my vantage point, it was loud. Like, I don't know. It might have been the loudest I've heard it in there for a Charge game.
I love that.
And
it really wasn't even their biggest crowd that night.
No.
Yeah. Which last night, game 2 was a bigger crowd.
Yeah, it was super loud.
And it was so loud in there. I love, you haven't watched a game like live on TV yet because you've been there. But they have Cheryl Pounder between the benches.
Oh yeah, I can see her.
Which
It's
is so
funny.
cool. Game 1, when I saw that, I was like, oh, I was so excited. Like, that's just so cool to get her right there in the action. And like, there was a couple times last night where she was like, yeah, it's so loud in here. Like, I can't even like hear much else. And it was a 0-0 game, kind of going late into the third, and then Jocelyn Larocque, looking like she's 32 again, scores a beautiful goal to go ahead. Like, what was that like? Because like I feel like, you know, they played really well. Like they had lots of chances, lots of shots. Phillips was playing great as well. What was that moment like with less than 3 minutes left to score the go ahead?
It was pretty crazy. Typically, I don't have much of a reaction because you're not supposed to cheer in the press box, and I try and stay chill. I didn't even see the puck go in either. Like, all of a sudden, I see everyone go crazy. I'm like, who scored? I'm like, was that Jocelyn? But like, I did a fist pump.
Yeah.
I was like, Jocelyn. I was so excited. I was so happy for her. She's been unreal with Ottawa, and I feel like kind of shut up some of the haters that she has, because a lot of people love to hate on Jocelyn for being so old, but I think she still got it. She's playing like
it's my
20 minutes
favorite
ahead.
hockey thing. It's like, oh, they are so old at the ripe age of 37. They're at the twilight of their career. And she's 37, but she did just turn 37, which is honestly like that goal she scored last night. I think one of the defenders she turned around is literally like 10 years younger than her. Like, it's pretty impressive. And then obviously a little bit of heartbreak. We got a last, what was it, in the last like 30 seconds?
50 seconds.
Yeah, like with it, yeah, not a lot of time left. Britta Curl scores the tying goal. What was the mood like? Because it was like so hyped and stuff and whatnot. Like, how does that look from your angle?
I mean, personally, even just me, I was so mad. Not even because of the referee.
Well,
I just wanted to go home.
Yeah, you just want to go home. Yeah.
I was like, I didn't bring any snacks. I'm like, Mike is gonna have to send me some money because like, a girl needs to eat. I might be here till like 2 a.m. So
Whoa.
I was scared, but for many different reasons. The fans were not happy. It was booing, like ridiculous. They interviewed Curl
that was crazy
in the intermission, and I could hear from where I'm sitting. I could hear the people in the tunnel booing. Like everyone ran over to the tunnel to try and like yell stuff at her. It was pretty funny though. Like I enjoyed it.
I love the boos. I think fans are allowed to boo. I think that's like they're right. I don't like throwing things, and Ottawa didn't do that or anything. But like I look at what happens in the NHL. But like booing is great. Like boo whoever you want. Like you paid to be there, you should be able to boo. And then overtime starts, bit of back and forth. I still thought Ottawa looked great throughout overtime. Phillips played great, and then the inevitable happens. Britta Curl scores the game winner. I can't even imagine the size and the like just the sadness in the crowd.
Yeah, it was like I saw this one little girl and she looked so upset, and I felt so bad for her. I'm like, it's okay. Like even Carla after the press conference, because like the media, we all every time they lose, we all get like, oh, they suck. Like, what's going on? And Carla was like, this was after the cameras and stuff turned off. She's like, guys, it's gonna be okay.
I love her like, so much.
She also I think said like the air inside of this room, like it just sucks it right out of you.
She's so real.
I was like, I'm sorry, Carla, but like you lost. We're disappointed.
Yeah, and I'm glad she's like looking at it from both ends though. She's like, it's okay. Gosh, that's funny. Like just looking into game 3, obviously it's turning to Minnesota here. From Ottawa's perspective, and this will be kind of like the last thing we kind of ask you here, who's a player, even multiple players, that like you're looking to maybe make an impact here as the series shifts to Minnesota with it tied 1-1?
I feel like it's been kind of this. A lot of players have been really consistent. Emily Clark has been unreal. She had like extra gear on.
She's my MVP candidate right now. Like she's just so good.
I think a player who maybe hasn't contributed that much that, you know, might clutch Teresa Vanisheva. She was clutch for Ottawa all season. She hasn't really made that big of an impact in the playoffs other than getting penalties. But I think maybe she might come up clutch, or someone like Danielle Serdachny, who hasn't scored since January.
Yep.
I don't know what happened to her. She hasn't been playing bad, but we'll see.
scoring goals.
Maybe she'll finally put one in the back of the net.
I feel like those are both players that kind of can embrace the villain role too, especially on the road. Vinisheva definitely will love to play that role, and I feel like even Serdachny just will take that on. So fingers crossed there. But thank you so much for hanging out and joining us here. First guest ever on PWHL. We appreciate you.
I wore my Ottawa sweater for you.
Amazing.
So I'm glad you came.
I want to get an Elisha sweater.
I don't sell those yet.
I
got a rally towel, guys.
Nice.
Round one.
It's beautiful.
I also have the ones from last night, but this is from round one.
Nice. I love the little playoff logos they did. I think they look really nice. But
I really want
thank
to
you.
leave it around.
Yeah.
We're not allowed.
Excellent demonstration.
You can do it now though.
Yeah, I can do it now. I do it at home.
Yeah. You get all of it out while you're home.
Yeah.
Thank you again. If you're listening to this, watching to this, please consider reading and following Elisha on all socials, on her X and on her Instagram. And then as well, if you have the means to, please consider a paid subscription to the Ice Garden. It helps people like us to be able to go to games. If this series turns to Game 5, I might be going to Game 5 in Ottawa. So that paid sub is helping me do that. So not just for me, but for so many of our wonderful creators and people who we hire, it helps us do awesome things. So Elisha, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you all so much for listening and watching.
Yeah, thank you.